Could Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey end up being Supergirl bad? Because if you believe anything you're seeing online, apparently Nolan's about to sail straight into his first major flop of his career. You've got people arguing about the armor, the casting, the mythology, Ellen Page, and somehow, before the movie's even out yet, people have already decided the fate of this film. Let's break it down. The funny thing about the internet is it doesn't wait for movies anymore.
Get out my way. Get out my fucking way. Get out my fucking way. Get out my way!
It reviews trailers, casting announcements, then set photos of leaks, and then someone on Twitter mentions something that catches fire, like the armor looks weird, and suddenly the movie's over. Right now, a lot of people are comparing The Odyssey to Supergirl, not because the films are similar, they're obviously not, but because Supergirl became the latest example of audiences saying, you know what, we're good. People are acting like The Odyssey is heading down the exact same road. The flagship of that, Elliot Page, a big one on there. Now, even I'll admit, that was probably the casting announcement that made me raise my eyebrow the most. Originally, people thought he might be Achilles, he's not. That's definitely changes things, but it's still a choice that feels risky for him to be playing a warrior at all. But then again, movie history is pretty full of castings everybody hated until the movie actually came out. You might not remember this, depends how old you are, but when people lost their minds over Heath Ledger being cast as the Joker, yeah, I bet you don't even know that or you don't remember that. Apparently, people were shook. They're like, the guy from A Knight's Tale was supposed to play Batman's greatest villain?
I think he's getting worse. He is getting worse.
Yeah, and that worked out pretty freaking well, didn't it? Same with Robert Pattinson. Twilight guy? I didn't think he could do it. Now a lot of people think he's one of the best Batmans? Anyways, weird casting doesn't automatically mean bad casting. Now, let's pretend that the internet is actually right? Why could this flop? Well, first, Supergirl reminded Hollywood of something important. Big budgets don't guarantee audiences anymore. And Nolan's making his most expensive movie to date. Which is cool, but throwing more money at a movie doesn't automatically make it better. We've all seen expensive movies that looked incredible and left absolutely zero cultural footprint. The second challenge, it's the story itself. The Odyssey isn't exactly the easiest blockbuster pitch. It's gods, monsters, magic, politics, detours, and one really long trip home. That's not to say it hasn't been done before, but getting all of that to flow naturally in one movie can be a challenge. That's tough. Then you got the casting, which honestly, I actually kind of like most of it. Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Zendaya, Anne Hathaway. That's a ridiculous lineup by any stretch of the imagination. But because Nolan stacked the cast this hard, he's got to deliver. People are expecting everyone to be at their top. No weak links, which brings me back to Elliot. Now, I think Elliot Page is a pretty decent actor. This isn't me questioning his acting abilities, it's the physicality of it that makes me question the choice. Hollywood has spent years asking us to believe smaller characters can beat much bigger opponents. Sometimes it works. Look at Black Widow, or one of my favorite sci-fi shows actually, Killjoy. Dutch, the character, beats up a ton of people that really this girl, this tiny little 5-0 girl, isn't gonna really be able to do. But looking back at Black Widow, the choreography, the camera work, and the character themselves sold it. You know what I mean? We bought into it to a degree. My question with The Odyssey is a little different though. These are Bronze Age warriors, legends, people whose names survived for thousands of years because they were supposed to be terrifying in battle. Right now, Elliot doesn't immediately project that image to me. But all that being said, the character they're playing, Sinon, is a bit of a spy. He's a warrior, but also a spy. So if you lean into that spy direction, you do basically have the Black Widow of this world. And maybe less of a Tyrion Lannister versus the Mountain, which is sort of the idea that I first got when I heard about this casting. Just straight up. It doesn't mean it can't work. We have Tom Cruise, who's, a shorter dude, shorter man, playing a variety of crazy fight scenes and beating up people like Henry Cavill. The man's 5'7". To me, this means Nolan has to convince us. And, I hope he has a plan for that. And honestly though, if there's anyone who's earned the opportunity, it's probably going to be him, right? So now here's the problem with every argument I just made. Christopher Nolan exists. Seriously, at some point his name becomes the franchise. People don't buy tickets just because they know the story, or even if they know the story at all. They buy tickets because it says directed by Christopher Nolan. We've literally watched this happen again and again. People said Interstellar would be too confusing. Now it's considered one of the greatest sci-fi films ever made. People questioned Dunkirk because there weren't really any traditional main characters. So no background stories, personal arcs really, or emotional monologues. Instead, it's just about the characters. It's just about surviving moment by moment. And that's his artistic take on it. It still became a massive success. Then came Oppenheimer, a 3-hour movie about physics, my friend. Physics, my guy. Mostly people talking in a room. I'm pretty sure they told me not to do that in film school. And somehow it became a billion-dollar cultural event. COVID might have made a little bit of that as well, but still, that's Christopher Nolan for you. He keeps making movies that sound impossible and ridiculous and snorefests, and somehow makes people love him. So let's take another look at the cast, right? That's what I had mentioned before. Whether you like every choice or not, there are stars everywhere in this film. Tom Holland brings one audience, Zendaya brings another, Matt Damon another, Anne Hathaway, Robert Pattinson. Now, this is actually mainly in support of a lot of the older actors in this, because I find newer actors don't have the same audience draw these days as some of these older actors used to have. But anyways, people are going to show up simply because somebody they like is in it, is my point. So now let's get into the armor controversy. And honestly, I mean, I don't really care. Nolan's already kind of explained why Agamemnon looks different. The armor isn't supposed to be historically perfect, it's a visual storytelling mechanism. He's separating the king from everyone else. That's filmmaking. People sometimes forget Christopher Nolan isn't making a museum exhibit, he's making art inspired by history, not chained to it. And finally, there's something I keep noticing online. Whenever a movie struggles, people instantly blame race or gender, diversity, or one casting choice over another, but that's usually not why movies fail. It can be an addition, but ultimately that's not it. It's coming down to writing and direction. Supergirl actually kind of showed that. If audiences think a movie looks great, they'll show up. If they don't, they won't. I don't think people hate the actress. She did a pretty good job in House of the Dragon as far as I'm concerned. But it wasn't enough to save it because the story just doesn't work. Good movies survive controversies all the time. Bad movies don't survive good marketing. So, do I think Odyssey could flop? Now, Supergirl was probably not going to make it at all anyways. But I always think there's an opportunity if you have a really good team on it, or a really good team of writers on a piece. You can probably make that movie work. But anyways, moving on. Do I think The Odyssey could flop? I mean, technically, sure, any movie can flop, but any movie can succeed. And I actually would put money on it that Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey will be great. So, should you go into this movie, don't rage watch it, alright? Don't forget to actually watch the movie that's happening in front of you. Because if Nolan pulls this off, none of these controversies are really going to matter. But now let's hear from you guys. Is The Odyssey Nolan's biggest gamble yet? Or is the internet doing what it always does, judging the movie before we even get a single frame? Let me know. And that's it for the video. If you enjoyed, you'll love the next one coming up. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, and share this out.